Live from WKYC Studios, this is What's Next.
Tonight, extreme heat. We have been talking about it for days, and it is finally here. Scorching temperatures and high humidity are making it tough to be outside unless you're near a pool or even Lake Erie. It makes air conditioning and lots of water extremely important right now. And we are also seeing some impacts to the local power grid. First Energy reporting nearly 5,600 customers are experiencing power outages. Those outages are mainly in Cuyahoga, Lorain, and Summit counties. And in the cities of Cleveland, Avon, Elyria, Akron, and Talmadge, we've reached out to First Energy for an idea on when service will be restored. We are still waiting to hear back. And good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Annabelle Childers. Lena Lai has the night off. Tonight, we are just beginning a stretch of extreme heat that could make it dangerous to be outside for extended periods of time. We have meteorologist Jessica Van Meter with us now to look at those high temperatures.
Yeah, hey there. We are going to continue to see the heat and the humidity as well. So we had weather impact alerts kicking in for today, and those are going to be with us for the next few days through at least Tuesday and probably into Wednesday as well. We've got temperatures that are going to climb into the 90s for our air temperatures during the day. A lot of humidity in place, so it's going to feel closer to triple digits, especially kind of during those peak heating hours of the day. We're also just not going to cool off very much through the overnight hours. So especially if you don't have air conditioning, that makes it really hard to cool things back down through the overnight when our air temperatures are not falling like they normally would during the overnight hours. So all of this is going to compound over the next few days and mean that as we get back into the work week, you got to find a way to stay cool. We are not alone in this. We have heat alerts for much of the central and eastern parts of the United States. So plenty of areas getting in on that heat, and it is still incredibly hot as we head into the overnight hours. For us, we've got temperatures in the 80s. That heat index is still close to 90 for some locations. Check out Minneapolis. They're just an hour behind us. So 10 p.m. out there, air temperature is 90 degrees, feeling like 96. So we've got the heat, the humidity that has moved in, and it is really going to set up shop as we go through the next couple of days and really give us those dangerous heat conditions for the next couple of days. As I mentioned, here's where we sit right now at 11 p.m. for our temperatures and the feels like temperatures. It still feels like 91 degrees in downtown Cleveland rather, and out towards Port Clinton as well. So when temperatures don't drop through the overnight, again, it just makes it incredibly uncomfortable for everyone who does not have air conditioning. You can't really open up the windows and let in some fresh air, kind of cool things down and everything that was able to heat up during the day. So that's going to be the struggle we go through over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we're starting off in the 70s first thing in the morning. Those temperatures rise very quickly. Once again, we're going to be in the 90s for tomorrow afternoon. We'll make a run at the record high out towards Hopkins. A lot of humidity still in place for tomorrow. We'll look ahead to when we get some rain into the picture and hopefully ease those temperatures up a little bit with your full forecast.
Wow, well, Jessica, thank you for walking us through that. We will check in with you a little bit later. Now, several cooling centers will be open this week. In Cleveland, multiple rec centers are now open through at least Tuesday. Those are open from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Akron Summit Lake Community Center will be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And in Canton, the Refuge of Hope will open at 10 a.m. You can find a full list of the hours and locations for those centers on our website at WKYC.com. And tonight, a 5-year-old boy is dead and his father is still missing after a tragedy while floating on the Cuyahoga River. The man has been missing for over 24 hours now. This morning, the 5-year-old's body was found. Rescue crews are focusing their search efforts around the Gorge Metro Park area. We have Natalie Clydesdale back from Cuyahoga Falls with the latest.
It's sad. It's a sad situation for sure. I got goosebumps. You know, I got a 6-year-old.
A heartbreaking weekend on the Cuyahoga River.
I mean, imagine if that was your family, you know.
According to the city of Cuyahoga Falls, just before 7 o'clock Saturday night, a man and his 5-year-old son went under the water while on an inflatable inner tube near Broad Boulevard. A family member told 3 News off camera they were also with the family's mother and another young child. The all-out search started right away, using boats, drones, and a patrol helicopter to scour the water. Because of the hazardous conditions and how hard it was to see, the effort stopped around 10 o'clock last night and picked back up this morning. The 5-year-old's body was found around 9:30 a.m. Crews spent all day Sunday searching for the boy's father, but did not have any luck.
It's very important. I mean, everybody's waiting just like how they are. They're waiting on that call.
Tyler Haynes says he went to school with the man's brother.
I used to hoot with them here and there. I'm just showing my respect.
As the water levels remain high, the city is urging the public to avoid the river. Zachary Ziegler experienced it firsthand on Sunday and described the conditions as treacherous.
I don't know what caused this, but there should be some kind of alert and blocking off of the river. I mean, I know there are people out there giving warnings and other things, but there needs to be more action taken to keep people off the river for sure.
Well, we're told the search will pick back up in the morning at 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, the 5-year-old's body has been taken to the Summit County Medical Examiner's office. Annabelle.
Natalie, thank you. We'll, of course, continue following this. And now this was the scene in Columbus tonight after a fuel tanker truck overturned on Interstate 270 on the northeast side of town. You can see the massive plume of black smoke rising into the sky and that tanker truck engulfed in flames. Authorities say the tanker was carrying more than 8,000 gallons of fuel when it overturned. The driver walked away with minor injuries. There's no word yet on what caused that crash. And a terrifying encounter that we are covering for some churchgoers in Michigan after an alleged gunman opened fire outside of Sunday service. NBC's Adrian Broadus reports on how church staff prevented a mass shooting.
But that doesn't mean that we didn't have
terrifying moments as shots ring out at a church in Wayne, Michigan. Captured on a live stream, families seen running for safety after police say a 31-year-old man started shooting outside.
Everybody come to the back.
Desperate parents grabbing their frightened children. Parishioners ducking as they try to escape.
The male's getting guns out of his car and going into the church.
It happened around 11 Sunday at the Cross Point Community Church just outside of Detroit.
Active shooter situation in the parking lot. Male is continuously shooting.
According to authorities, an armed security guard at the church shot and killed the suspect outside of the building. One person was injured.
One male shot in the leg.
I started hearing pop, 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 pop.
Wendy Bowden says she hid in a bathroom.
We were just praying and we didn't know what was going on, but we knew it was bad. And hearing all the gunshots.
Moments before the gunfire, children seen walking down the center aisle as fear erupted across the church. Tonight, the FBI assisting on scene. As the investigation continues, this congregation grateful.
I just want to hug my mom and take her home, make sure that she's safe.
Adrian Broadus, NBC News.
New images out tonight from Iran and the destruction left behind by last night's bombing at the hands of the U.S. military. The first photos show one of the nuclear sites before the airstrikes and then after, which shows extensive damage to buildings across the facility. Other photos show a huge crater in the dirt that covers part of the underground nuclear complex in Iran. Meantime, in Israel, several homes were reduced to rubble and buildings were damaged when an Iranian missile struck a Tel Aviv neighborhood today. This happened just hours after President Trump said the U.S. had obliterated Tehran's key nuclear sites. And tonight, the Department of Homeland Security is now warning of heightened threats in the United States. The department says low-level cyber attacks against U.S. networks are likely and warns the threat of violence would likely increase if Iranian leaders issue a religious ruling calling for retaliatory attacks against targets in the U.S. Last night's attack on Iran made history as it was the first time the U.S. had directly bombed the Islamic Republic. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more on the fallout now from Washington.
The United Nations Security Council meeting in an emergency session this afternoon, and the Secretary General saying that diplomacy must prevail. Of course, all this comes after the U.S. launching a series of airstrikes against nuclear facilities inside Iran. Today, the Trump administration is calling it a military success and arguing that it was necessary to prevent the Iranian government from acquiring a nuclear weapon, something that President Trump, White House officials say, has been saying for decades. However, critics of the administration, including even a few Republicans, have been arguing that the White House is drawing the U.S. into another war. They're criticizing that. However, the administration, including Vice President J.D. Vance, pushing back against that, saying that this is part of what President Trump promised during the presidential campaign, peace through strength. However, there are concerns now about what happens next, whether Iran will retaliate against U.S. forces in the region. There are about 40,000 U.S. forces across the Middle East, but there are also questions about whether Iran or its proxies might retaliate against Americans here inside the United States. Just this afternoon, the Department of Homeland Security issuing a new bulletin warning of a heightened threat environment and warning that it's possible that Iran could launch low-grade cyber attacks against the U.S. The bulletin also saying there is a possibility for violent extremists to retaliate against the U.S. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Washington.
Tonight, the United Nations is also warning it's still unclear how and if Iran will proceed against Israel and the U.S. in the days ahead. Still to come, beat the heat, what some people are doing to stay cool in these sizzling temperatures, and why a local animal shelter says they can match you up with the perfect pet. Their advice for adopting a new best friend. We're back in 2 minutes. A local animal group held a special open house today. The Parma Animal Shelter on State Road welcomed visitors with lots of activities, including a chance to meet Cleveland Browns mascot Chomps and the Parma canine officer. But volunteers focused on their animals and finding them new loving homes.
We have animals for everyone. You know, if you want a dog, but you are a couch potato, we have those. If you have a dog that you would like to you'd like to take it jogging in the metro parks, we have those. We have cats that want to sit on your lap. We have kittens that play. We do our very best to match the animal to whatever it is that's going to work best in your life for you.
Now, the Parma Animal Shelter is open to the public Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and open Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon. The shelter reminds everyone to protect your pets during these dangerously hot temperatures. Don't leave them in a hot vehicle and provide shade or bring them inside, and make sure they have plenty of fresh water to drink. And it's no surprise that beating the heat is top of mind for everyone this week. We haven't seen temperatures this high in quite some time, so we stopped by a park in Lakewood where some people told us their tips and tricks to coping with the weather.
When the weather is nice, why not get out and just, enjoy life, enjoy the biking, riding, the beaches, whatever it is that you like to do. I just think we should be able to enjoy the sun.
Staying hydrated, making sure you eat, get nutrients in, not doing too much strenuous exercise or activities into the sun for too long. Maybe taking breaks.
When it's this hot, if I don't have to go outside, I generally don't. Maybe I'll go out first thing in the morning and come out after at dusk, when there's a breeze and sun isn't directly overhead. But I'm also extremely pale most of the time, and I turn into a lobster in about 30 seconds.
Now, parents are also reminded to make sure kids don't get near playground equipment that may be too hot and could burn them. And speaking of popular parks and beaches, this was the scene today at Huntington Beach in Bay Village. You can see folks taking advantage of the warm weather. Park officials closed the main entrance gates this afternoon to the public to control the crowds. Overflow parking across the street was crowded as well. Now, this beach is one of the most popular spots for swimming and fishing along Lake Erie in Northeast Ohio. And I'm just so impressed by all these people's positive attitudes. They are unfazed.
Everyone is taking this in stride so far, and those were all excellent tips. One thing to be aware of if you're going in Lake Erie, the water temperature is still on the cool side.
So it's frigid, might be a shock to the system.
Yes, it's been slow to warm up so far. So off of Cleveland, it's only about 60 degrees.
Wow.
That's going to be changing, obviously, with all the heat.